I was gonna film, but someone is needy. Baby. Baby. It's okay. Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to our coffee times to talk about horror. And today I bring you my TBR pile for November, so aka my TBR for the Evil A Thon.
It's coffee time.
I'm quickly gonna go through the prompts today and let you know what I'm planning to read. There are a total of 9 reading prompts, so I have chosen 8 books. That means I have only doubled up in one prompt. So I'm gonna try my best to get to those 8 books. And I'm hoping to have time because November is gonna be a really busy month for me. I'm gonna be in London for, I think, 5 days or something like that, so I'm gonna be traveling and not sure if I'm gonna have much time to read. And also I'm gonna go to Spain for another week because I need to get a small surgery done in Spain in November as well, so I don't know how am I gonna fit all of my reading in November yet, but I am gonna use the reading sprints that we have during the Evil A Thon to actually get a lot of my reading done. Hopefully there are 4 reading sprints planned, and the reading sprints that I have with my Patreons come also on top of that. So my hope is that all of those sprints are going to really push me to get my TBR read. Let's go to prompt number 1, which is Hypersleep, to read a book that takes place in the winter or in a cold place. And for that, I'm going to be reading Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I decided to pick this one up in a bookstore recently because I really want to read it. I want to read more Darcy Coates, and so far I have only read one of her other books, and this one has one of those tropes that I really enjoy, which is a bunch of people locked somewhere, somebody dies, who's the killer, you know that vibe. I love that. We follow 8 strangers that are stranded in this cabin, isolated in the middle of nowhere, as you can see, and everything is covered with snow. But from the 8 of them, 1 is a killer. So who is it, and will they be able to stop this killer before it keeps killing them one by one? Krista decides to join a tour group, and they are walking in the wilderness. You know, it's beautiful, but then the weather takes a turn for the worst and they get this huge snowstorm. So the group decides to hide in this old hunting cabin that they find. At least it provides shelter. But then the next morning, the tour guide appears dead. Somebody has killed this guy, and we don't know why, and we don't know who. So this is the mystery. So it's a classic murder mystery in a locked room scenario. They also have nowhere to run because everything is surrounded by snow. They don't know where they are because the guide from the group is the one that... So, you know, now they're kind of really screwed. Quarantine is to read a book about a virus, some sort of disease, you know, something that spreads. And I have decided that finally I'm going to be reading Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay. I've had this book for a long time, basically since it was published, and I still have not picked it up, and I have read nearly almost every Paul Tremblay book but this one, so I have to get to it. And it is about a book about a pandemic that spreads and the survivors and how they are not affected, how are they surviving, how do they find food, how do they navigate this new world order. And I believe also one of the characters is a pregnant woman, which has to be such a terrifying feeling to experience such a spread of a virus while you are pregnant and everything can harm you and your baby. I think this virus works kind of like zombies. I think if you get bitten, that's how you can get infected. And so our main character is trying her best to survive, and they want to make it also to potentially the next hospital that is somehow still running, operating, even if there's only a couple of people in there, because obviously she's pregnant and she needs medical assistance. Chest Burster, which is to read a book about a creature or an alien. So for this one, I have chosen an audiobook because, again, I'm traveling a lot. I'm gonna be around a lot, so I felt like at least choosing one audiobook might help me. So I chose Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus because I've heard really good things about this one, and we do have a creature. Jay's father committed suicide, and Jay has been feeling very guilty ever since. So he decides to do an expedition to try to find his father's body and bring it back to shore. So in doing that, he finds a giant squid. Then there is this huge whale that comes and ends up eating him. So he ends up on the insides of the whale. And now basically he has to find a way to escape the stomach of this huge creature. I don't know if this is gonna be like crazy. I don't know if it's just gonna be claustrophobic. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is that I'm intrigued, and I've heard people really enjoying it. So I don't know. It's also something a little bit out of my comfort zone in the way that it's not a book that I would typically read or pick up as my first choice. So I thought it would be a good way of, again, pushing myself to read something that otherwise maybe I would have not picked up. The next prompt is Mother, which is to read a book about a dangerous mom, an evil stepmom, some kind of really messed up, deranged, disturbing family, anything like that. And for this, I have picked a book on my Kindle, again, because I can take it everywhere. And if I'm on the train, on the plane, I can always get to my reading without having to carry all the books with me. I only have to carry my Kindle. And it's called The Mother by Brett McBean. We follow a woman that is hitchhiking through a highway. And this is no ordinary woman. This is a mother that is pissed and wants revenge. She is trying to find the person who killed her daughter and, of course, get revenge. The only clue that she has is a message that her daughter left her on the phone, which is that the killer is a man with a tattoo on his left arm that says "Die Mother." I think this woman has been through a lot, and I'm guessing this is going to be something like the movie Revenge, where we're just going to kill people left and right until we get to the one that deserves it all. So I don't know, I'm thinking this is just going to be a bloody massacre revenge kind of story, but I'm here for it. And this is not a mother that is evil because she's just evil. Like, she has a reason for being bad. She has a reason for killing these people. So I feel like I'll be even able to understand her. The next prompt is Predator, which is to read a book about a serial killer or a killer that is actually human. So we're looking here for human evil. And this one I'm gonna double up with the prompt Ripley, which is to read a book with a final girl or a strong female character. And I have picked Escape from Happydale by Jack Quaid, and this also happens to be the book club pick for my Patreon. So this is the one that we will be reading, and we all get 2 prompts already with just 1 book. 10 years ago, there was a massacre and only 1 girl survived. There we have our final girl. So now in the present, she's no longer the scaredy cat, afraid little girl, because she has been through a lot. And now she's the one that has decided, I'm going to travel the country and I'm gonna find people that are bad. I'm gonna find the people that are doing the killings and I'm gonna get rid of them. So basically we have here a final girl that decides to flip the table, to turn the table and become what everybody is scared of. The next prompt is David, which I know is the prompt you guys had the most trouble with. And this was to read a book with a killer robot, you know, an AI that goes rogue or something like that. And a lot of people, including myself, for this prompt, we're gonna be reading William by Mason Coyle. And when I got this in the mail, I'm like, it's a tiny hardcover, how cute. And the cover is so cute. So I'm really, really excited for this. Also because I do need to read a little bit more of horror sci-fi, and this one also doesn't seem to be too long, which is perfect for me for November. Henry is a brilliant engineer that has finally created something that is really groundbreaking, but he has created it in the comfort of his own home. He has created an AI called William. No one knows about William. He keeps him in the attic hidden, but then some friends come to visit him and his wife, and he decides maybe I should try it out. I should test it out with friends, you know, people that I trust. So I might show them William and see how that goes. But of course things go from strange to worse to much, much worse. Prompt number 7 is Face Hugger, which is to read a book that brings you comfort, a cozy read, a book by an author you know that you enjoy, like something that is just gonna be good and cozy and comforting for you. And I didn't know what to pick here because I have many comfort reads and many comfort authors, which I know might not be for everybody, like Richard Lehman, David Sodergren, Stephen King, but I wanted something cozier, like not just comfort, but something that's cozy to me. And I saw on my shelves a book series that I started and then didn't continue, and I'm like, absolutely not, we need to fix it. And that is the Lockwood & Co. book series. I previously read book 1 and 2, and I have to keep going. So this is now book 3. This is The Hollow Boy by Jonathan Stroud. So when I picked up this series, I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And I cannot wait to return to this world and to these characters, because the characters in this book series, it's one of the best things. For the past 50 years, the country has been affected by ghosts, basically. They are everywhere, and they don't know what to do to get rid of them. But then they realize that actually teenagers are the best ghost hunters and the best ones to hire for a job when it comes to the supernatural, because they are still young enough to have a special connection to the world of the dead. And so there are agencies all over the country that you can hire to help you get rid of supernatural entities, aka ghosts. In book 1, we follow Lucy. So Lucy wants to join one of these agencies, but she knows that the big agencies are not gonna hire her. So she's very desperate, and she goes to an agency that doesn't have the best reputation, that is Lockwood & Co. And there she meets Lockwood, obviously, as well as Anthony, the guy that is helping him. And together, the three are such a wonderful team. And in every book, they have to solve different cases, they have to investigate, they have to figure out how to banish, get rid of the ghost, of the spirit, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed book 1 and 2, so I think book 3 is gonna be perfect and cozy for November. Prompt number 8 is Queen of the Damned, which is to read a book about vampires. And there is a book that I didn't get to read that was on my October TBR pile, and it is a book that includes vampires. So I thought, because I didn't get to read it in October, I would just push it to November because I really want to read it. And it is called Our Unique Affliction by Scott J. Moses. And because I have it on my Kindle, it's another one that I can take with me wherever I go. This book follows Alice Ann, that has been rejected not only by humanity now that she's a vampire, but she has also been rejected by her own species. And so she kind of navigates the world knowing that she's not going to be able to see the sun again. We go through grief, we experience everything she had to go through. So I'm expecting this one to be dark, and a tale of grief with vampires is not something that we always get to experience, like to see how they really feel from a more humane point of view, if you may. So I'm hoping that this one is going to be as good as I expect it to be. And this is the last one that I'm going to be reading for the readathon, because prompt number 9 is Ripley, which is to read a book with a final girl or a strong female character, and as I've mentioned, I will be doubling up with this one. So those were all the books that I plan on reading in November. Those are all the books that I have for my Evil A Thon TBR, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys are participating in one way or another. Even if you only read one book or do one activity, you are already participating. And remember, you can read middle grade YA or thrillers. You don't have to go to adult horror if that is still a little bit too much for you. If you missed my announcement video or my recommendation video, I'll leave them linked down below as well. If you want to directly support me and the channel, please do consider joining my Patreon. The link is also down below. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!